Hello, hello, everyone. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening. It says that we are streaming. We're streaming live. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm going to give Zoom and Facebook the opportunity to catch up. And I'm also going to share this. Okay. Why is that? Okay. And as you come on, please let me know that you are there and that you can hear me, please. Thank you. Join us. I am getting the Debt Free Lounge tied into our, where is it? Okay, I can see that you are starting to sign in, so make sure if you could just say hello and let me know that you can hear me. I'm seeing something odd, but that's the way it is when we are live. So just there we go. Just bear with me. I'm getting them tied in. Okay. There we go. There we go. Make sure I can see your comments. Okay, as you come in, please let me know that you can hear us loud and clear. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm not sure why. If you can you see it looks like for some reason my picture is showing up on Facebook and it's a blurred picture. Can you see that? You see that, Pastor Sarah?
Yeah.
Or anyone who's out there that can see, can just tell me whether you can see us or you can see that picture.
I can see you.
You can see me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead then, but I'm getting something different over here. We're going to go ahead and get started. Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. I am really, really excited to be here tonight with our guest speaker. But before I introduce her, let me introduce myself for those of you who are new, or you might have received a share from someone who have received our flyer. I'm Chris Roebuck. I'm the founder and CEO of Live My Life Debt Free. I'm excited to be able to lead this community and teach people how to live a debt-free life through teaching financial literacy. We have been around for more than 7 years. We've covered or have reached more than 62 countries and counting. I am really, really grateful that all of you have chosen to join us tonight, even those who will replay this video. Thank you so much for doing so. I am really, really glad that we are going to be talking about a subject that quite a few people, no doubt, have either experienced or will experience if you just keep living, and that is about fear, about intimidation where your finances are concerned, about uncertainties, all of those things. If you have ever, and if you can hear me, see me, if you have ever, and you're there, I'm going to try to get these comments up again, but if you have ever experienced anything of that sort with your finances, if you have ever experienced any type of concerns with your finances, then just put a 1 in the comment section. Just put a yes, or that's me, or I have, because the truth of the matter is people experience things like that. So tonight I have invited a good friend. I have invited someone that maybe some of you know, and some will really need to get to know. After tonight, you will know part of her story because we definitely can't share it all. But I am grateful to Pastor Sarah McGirt, who has said yes to God and yes to live my life debt free, to share her story. And Pastor Sarah, I'm going to say some things about her that she won't. So, so here goes. But Pastor Sarah is the assistant pastor of congregational care at Grove Church in Portsmouth, Virginia, where Pastor Dr. Melvin O'Mariner is the senior pastor. She's a chaplain. She is also an associate minister there at Grove, and she's a Live My Life Debt Free contributor. I'm so excited to have her a part. She's a part of the Master's Mind group, whether she knows it or not. But she has seriously mastered her finances, and that is why she is here tonight. One of the reasons to share with us. She's also in the graduate program at Regent University. Yes. Without further ado, I want to just give Pastor Sarah the opportunity to say whatever she wanted to say. Oh, and I want to make sure that I say this correctly. She is a retired Navy veteran. Wanted to make sure I got the branch correctly. But thank you so much, Pastor Sarah, for being with us tonight. Anything you want to share about who you are, what your mission is that God has placed you on before I start asking questions?
Well, I just want to thank you, Minister Chris, for just asking me to come alongside and share a little bit about my financial journey, the disciplines that I've learned and embracing to ensure that, I'm a good steward over my finances, and not just, the money part of my finances, but the financial wealth that comes from inside, my time and my talent and my treasure. So I appreciate you having me alongside with you tonight. It's an honor.
Oh, it's an honor. The feeling is so mutual. Thank you so much. You've been a true blessing. So as I had mentioned before, and I want to just, everybody else is joining in on our conversation. I know you know how far you have come on your journey. You have created new disciplines. You have created new behaviors, financial behaviors, new financial disciplines. You have a momentum towards other financial and spiritual goals. But I mean, you have a mad kind of momentum going. I mean, and I am so excited and I am so proud of the work that you have put into getting to this place. So I just wanted to ask you, during the period that you were developing these new disciplines, you were developing a space so that transformation could take place in your life. What was your greatest fear during that time? And how did money actually, or the lack of it, how did it actually fit into the equation?
Wow.
Makes sense.
Well, my greatest fear was not having what I needed. And I didn't even realize how uneducated I was about my finances. I didn't even realize that I wasn't really educated on spending and credit and saving and just robbing Peter to pay Paul. Just really had some bad habits, and
Mhm.
I had to unlearn those habits. And unbreaking habits is hard. You have like you said, I have a momentum about where I'm going now. I had that same momentum in the wrong area, so it was tough, really undoing the bad habits that I had in my finances. So my greatest fear was just not having what I needed. I was a mom, and was concerned about making sure my children had what they needed. Concerned about everybody and just wanted to make sure I could do my part. So that was my greatest fear.
Okay, so basically making sure that your children had what they needed. So if that was, so how did you, what was it about? Can you just kind of unpack that a little bit with regard to your greatest fear of not having what you needed? What what part of not having, what you needed? I mean, what did that look like? I mean, was it not enough money for food that you thought you wouldn't have, or a roof over your head? What did that look like?
I would say all of that because, when I look back over it now, I was making a decent amount of money, even in my hardest times.
Mhm.
But what I found is it's not what you have, it's what you do with it. So because I wasn't a great manager of my finances, I came up short often, often.
Okay.
And because I still wanted to ensure that my needs were met, I would overspend in other areas or not utilize my money, for bills the right way. I it's actually kind of embarrassing now, but I laugh at it a little bit now. I didn't realize that just because you had checks that you didn't have any money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Even now, some people look at their debit card and say, hey, as long as I have a debit card, some children, some in some households, children even think, well, mom and dad have a debit card, there should be money there. So that's something that is, I mean, that's nothing to be embarrassed about if you were saying, okay, I have checks. Why isn't there money? But that is, so someone who's a single mom right now, who's watching this or probably will watch this, who was in the same place that you were in, what did you do to get beyond that? I mean, what can you tell them then, the Sarah then, who wasn't Pastor Sarah at the time? What did Sarah do in order to get beyond the place, get beyond that area of fear and mismanagement? I mean, what actually happened to move you from that space?
The first thing I did was ask for help. And
Ah,
that was really, really hard for me because I'm a very independent person, and asking for help was, ooh, that was tough. It was tough because we want to think that we have things in order, and we're an adult, or we have children, we're a mom, or we're a wife, and we want to believe that we have everything that we have all the tools, I'll say, to be successful. But I was ignorant to how to handle my finances, and so I had to ask for help. And the financial institution that I've been with for a long time, I went to them and I said, this is where I am, but I think I can do better. And so they said, well, the first thing you had to do, you got to stop spending,
okay, okay,
stop spending. And then find out what you're spending on. That was for me anyway. And just I had to sit down and really, really come up with a plan.
that's awesome. That's huge, because that is one of the things that seem to be really hard for people who's having financial problems. Not so much as a crisis, but just financial problems. To really just say, okay, I do. I need some help here, because the truth of the matter is, at whatever area or place that we've been in our lives, when things were just really messed up, uh, the last thing we wanted is for other people to know that we have an issue, that we have a problem. And that makes it even harder when it's a crisis, because we feel like, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, but sometimes when we're in that place, want people to think that we have it all together.
Yes,
So
definitely,
I don't know if you felt
definitely.
like that, if your
Um,
family or friends, you know.
yes, you do. You don't want anybody to know. Like I said, when you're an adult and you're a mom, you're a wife, the perception is that you're handling your business. But if you don't know how to handle your business, you're really making a mess of your business until you ask for help. But there are a lot of people that are very independent, or they're used to just taking care of things themselves, like myself. And asking for help was, ooh, that was a tough one. That was a tough one. I was afraid of being judged. I
Mm,
was
mm,
afraid of being talked about. Um, I was embarrassed because I felt like I should know better. Um,
mm.
but I really had to move past that because I wanted something different.
Wow, wow. Well, I want to just ask this question about, you said you wanted something different. So, how have you, since you have actually developed those new disciplines? So, how have you held true to the decision that you made? And we just talked about how we want people, well, people, we've really wanted people to believe that we had everything together and so forth. And now that is the fact, that's a fact for you. So how have you held true to your decision to change, and um, the transformation that's taken place? What kind of boundaries have you set, and how have you actually held true to that? Because sometimes it is hard, or it is easy. Well, let me just say what I was saying. It's easy to do and it's easy not to do, meaning like to stay on the right path. So how have you held true to your decision to reach out for help? You did that, and you have started, with these new developments, and you have really mastered it. So have you, why haven't you allowed someone or something to pull you off track and off focus?
I think one of my greatest strengths, um, really in every area of my life at this point in my life, is my community. My community, my circle is the circle that I run in right now holds me accountable. And I love the fact that I can say, "Ooh, I really would like to have this," and the people in my circle can say, "No, do you need that, or do you want that, or can you save up for it?" Or do you have to have it now? Is this an impulse buy? Those type of things are really, really where I believe my strength comes from. I'm thankful that, of course, I have my relationship with God and God is leading, but God has still placed people around me, that I call my friends, my brothers and my sisters, and family, that hold my feet to the fire. And I'll say this too: once you start and you see that you can do it, it's like, oh, I want to do more. If I can save this amount, maybe I can save the next level, or maybe I can save this, or maybe I can pay this off. And you really start to see, you starts living in your life that you are accomplishing these goals, and it just feels good, and it makes you want more.
Mm-hmm. Right. It makes you want to do more, right? Makes you want to become more. Just like you were saying earlier, when we were talking and you were saying, who we've become, because that's the deal. Who have we become? uh, Whether it's with money or without. I always say that whoever you are right now is who you're, and you don't have the level of knowledge, or you're not in the place financially where you want to be. That's who you're going to become when you do arrive to that particular place. You're gonna if you I always say that if you're a stingy person now, when you have more money, you're gonna be stingy. If you're mean now, when you have more money, you're just gonna be a mean person with money.
Right,
you know.
right.
So, but yes, I love that. And what I see now is that um, when Sarah was going through that particular place, and you reached out and you got help, and now Pastor Sarah, Chaplain Sarah, have basically just made, I would just say, a metamorphosis has happened, and that will
Agree.
happen throughout our lives if we open ourselves up for change. If we open ourselves up and be vulnerable enough to say, I really don't have it all together. Can you just show me how to do that? It might just
Yeah.
be one or two things that you need to tweak that will definitely put you on on the right track, or or on, just like you have that momentum that's going. Um, and once you learn those things and you're walking with God through it all, uh, everything else, I mean, it's just like the limits are off God now.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
can just watch him move, watch him work. And it becomes, and I don't want to say like easier, but actually it does become easier when you get out of yourself, out of your flesh, and really allow God to guide the ship. So I'm excited about the momentum that you have going on, the things that you've done, the goals. I mean, you're focused. And I want to ask this question, and this will probably be one of my final questions. I'm gonna let you just have the floor and talk about what you want to talk about. But what advice would you give to others who are watching or who will replay this? Um, who is probably in a similar place, where you were, but they're stalled. They didn't get help. They didn't move. They're still there where Sarah was, and now they are uh, president of a CEO company, or whatever, or they're, they're stalled. They got stuck and they stayed stuck. They have not, because, okay, we'll just say we're going to call them the Joneses. What would you say to the Joneses who is broke at a higher level? They won't ask for help. And they want everybody to think that they have it all together, meaning like, okay, this person has stalled. And they probably even feel like there's no help for them. And I'm saying that because I know that there are a lot of people who want to reach out for help, but they won't. And I know we just kind of covered that somewhat, but I just kind of like for you to go a little bit further, for those who might be stalled, not necessarily, um, they just might be stalled. They just, and maybe we can just say maybe some have asked for help and they're still stuck.
Mhm.
So what can you say to them to kind of help them break free of that?
Well, one of the first things I would say is that there is help for everybody. And it doesn't matter if you make 50,000 a year, 100,000 a year, you're a millionaire or beyond. If you are underwater in your finances,
Mhm.
there are life rafts out there for you. And you can come up from every situation that you're in. But one of the first things that we all need to be able to do is stop and really take an assessment of what's going on. And one of the things I realize is that a strength is also knowing your weaknesses. Was none of us are supposed to know everything, because the Lord talks about how we need each other. Two are better than one. Where two or three are gathered in my name, we are helpers one to another. We are encourage each other to good works. Everybody needs somebody to help them, and um, that help is available. And if you're feeling stuck, or you're feeling like that there is no change, that is so not true. And if you allow yourself to take one step, God will take the rest of them. And God will just open doors and give you favor with percentages on loans, to give you favor with paying things off, to give you favor with, opportunities to make money. Just so many things that the Lord can do. The greatest partnership is the Lord Jesus Christ. I don't know what else to say about that. That's the
Yeah.
greatest partnership we can have. And in that partnership, the Lord will give you people that are walking on the earth to guide you, to assist you, to give you education on your finances, on like live my life debt free, like how to pay off things and how to save. And you can start. I remember I started saving $5 every 2 weeks because that's all I had. And I tell people all the time, there's power in $5. And if you can just save $5 until you can save 10, until you can save 20, until you can save 200, until you can save 500 every 2 weeks. If you just start somewhere, you'll get somewhere. Just not giving up, you know, and then we have to get beyond people. Um, we have to get beyond people, and to be honest with you, they're really not thinking about us like we think anyway. They're really not. They're really not.
Right.
They're really not thinking about us like that anyway. I think it's a lot of times it's just a perception thing. Um,
Right.
but you may have a friend that may not need help in their finances, but they need assistance in another area, and maybe you can help them in their area as they help you in your area. If that kind of works, having that partner, having that accountability person to come alongside you. But I just say, just start, sit down and write it down. This is what I have. This is what I owe. And this is what I want to do. And just commit to it and make a decision that this is what I want to do. And you'd be
Mhm.
surprised how fast it can happen. You'd be surprised how quick things can happen. Just sharing a little bit, I remember, paying off things and watching my credit score just flip over. And it was just ridiculous because I was knocking things down. The Lord was giving me wisdom and guidance and favor to be able to take care of things,
Mhm.
and just putting me in a place where I could do it. And it feels good to be able to do it. And it feels good to be able to tell people that, here I am on the other side of this. And, the goal is to keep going and to just be an example. My kids got 7 kids and 5 grandkids, and, all of them need to know that, finances, can be great when managed the right way.
Mhm. Mm. Oh, I love that. I didn't have a chance to type that yet, but I will. You said that, you could say that again. You said finances can be good when you manage it the right way. Is
Yes.
that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll make sure I get that. That's a good
Yeah, it,
one.
it doesn't, it doesn't matter how much you have. If you're not managing it properly, you know, a person can live very well with whatever they have. I won't say, they can learn to live a comfortable way. I'll say that. I won't say that people don't need support or don't need raises and things of that nature. But I think that we all can learn to have good management in what we receive. I'll say that.
Absolutely. Well, the truth of the matter is, many times, and this is across the board, just, from my experience and what I've seen, and also what we see in the world really today, because of the way the system, and I'm not blaming the system, because we have control over us. We have control over what we can do to help ourselves. But the system is set up so that we as consumers, um, can get in to, can have more debt and more debt. If you really notice,
Yes.
when you pay something off, you get more um, advertisements or more emails about raising your limit or getting another card or doing something else. They want you to get more debt, get deeper in debt. So that the system is set up that way so that we can spend more. However, we don't have to take that route. It's something you just said, and I, because I'm aging gracefully, it kind of went the other way. But we don't have to take that route. We can choose not to do that. One thing that you said, and I'm gonna just kind of skip over this way real quick. You said finances can be good if you manage it properly. And that, yes, and I thank God for a second chance. Um, but when we have a lot of debt, and this is why I know that God wants us, other than the fact for kingdom building, uh, when we have a lot of debt, the answer isn't always, and I'm going to be real careful with this, it's not always getting more money if you can't
Right.
manage what you have.
I
The
agree.
answer isn't always that. However, what it is, the answer, there's a lot of people who make a lot of money, like you said, make a lot of money, but they're not good money managers. So they actually just stay in debt. So the answer is one of the answers can be is to dig yourself out of debt and free up that cash flow that should be coming into your house that's going out. That's where I was going with all of this.
Yes.
Is that many times the answer is right there in your hands. It's
Yeah.
it's in your checkbook. Take a look at your checkbook ledger, see where all of your money is going, and see how much money you have coming in. I guarantee you, if you manage well, like Pastor Sarah said, if you manage well, when you manage well, you will have more cash flow, which is coming back into the household than what's going out. The answer isn't always, okay, let me make more money. When you have all of this money going out, that you can literally um, take hold of and bring it and cause cash to flow back into your household. I mean, I hope that makes sense. I kind of went a long way around, but the bottom line, because I see that happen a lot,
Yes.
and a lot of times people are up at night worried about how they can make more money instead of looking at what is in their hands,
Yes.
how they can actually create that cash flow themselves by being better stewards of their finances, the way that you mentioned. I guarantee you, and I'm gonna give the floor back to you. If you have, let's say, three debts that total to about $1,500, what would happen if you were able to get those debts paid off and you had an extra $1,500 coming into your household? That can be done.
Yes. Yes. It can.
So,
Definitely can. I've seen it done in my own life. As I tackled, my debts, so I started saving a small amount. And the more I was able to pay off, I had exactly what you said. I had more cash flow in my household. So I didn't have to go out and get a second job or, be up at night worrying about things because I was able to take care of my needs and, able to do a couple of things that I wanted to do. I will say that when we talk about fear, one of the things that I kind of struggled with after being out of debt was holding on to all my money and not even wanting to spend anything. I was like, no, I need to keep this because what if something happens? What if this? What if that? But I had to deal with that within myself. That was just my fear of, the fear of going back to where I came from. And I had to trust that, God didn't bring me through all of that, over all of that, to do all of that, to still be afraid. I have to trust that, that I have learned some great lessons. And what they say, wisdom is the principal thing. So, having wisdom in my finances and wisdom in my spending and wisdom in the things, not just what I need, but if I want something, that that it's okay. That
yeah,
it's okay. I don't have to hold on to my purse real tight and not, spend anything and be afraid, and just live my life in that level of stress as well, because what they say, a blessing before its time is a burden. So um so
Okay.
I really I didn't want the burden of that. I
Uh-huh.
was, God has really done some great things, and I've seen great things done in other people's lives, and I know other people who have said the same thing. Now I'm nervous about spending, or I'm nervous about, stepping out here to do some things, because what if something happens? What if I lose my job again? What if I lose my house again? What if I lose my car again? But just believing that we have done the work, and we're doing the work to ensure that we can try to live.
Mhm. Mhm. Wow. And that brings us to, I thought about that it's important when you talked about, when as we're talking about fear tonight, and you said that God didn't bring you that far for you to still be fearful. And that is because I believe, because of our humanity, because of our flesh. I mean, because we know that we were not created with the spirit of fear. So we know where that is coming from.
Mhm.
That's why we have to really use our sword. We have to remember God did not create me with the spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of a sound mind. We have to begin to speak the word against those kind of thoughts that come up, or that cause us to clench, onto and hold on to, because that is probably, and I'm not as I said the other day, I'm not a doctor or anything like that. So I can't say it, but I believe that, it's a seed that's planted in our mind that causes us to, uh, to think, well, what if I lose everything again? And that is something that many people experience. What if I lose everything again? What if I spend my last $100 or my last $1,000? Where it And that's when we are really depending up our own. It's called presumptuous, being presumptuous. We're depending on our own ability and not depending on totally on God. When we do that, we're presuming the future, and the Bible speaks against that. We have to, if we have to really allow God to take full control. We have to take our hands off of it, because as long as we have our hands on it and we're going to do this, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to, make this happen, then we're not allowing God to take control. He's not a tyrant. He's not going to rush in and remove our hands. So, but this brings us to uh, the point of God fulfilling His covenant to His people. I mean, it's a gift from God for us to be free of everything that binds us. And that's what God wants. Is He wants His people, He wants us to not to allow the things, the enemy, to come in and to bind us up and do whatever he pleases. But we have the power to break that. And that's one of the reasons why we're here tonight, is to talk about fear. Fear seems probably feels like something really huge. And it really can be, if we allow it in our lives to just overshadow everything that God is wanting to do. But we have the power to speak to that. And it's only through the word of God that we will be able to conquer our fears in this way. So Pastor Sarah, go ahead. I know it's something good getting ready to come out.
No, I just agree with everything that you said, that that fear, that the what ifs.
Mhm.
Um, we're not supposed to be concerned about tomorrow. We're not supposed to be concerned about what's going to happen next, because we have a Father, we have a Lord, we have a Savior who has all of those things already handled for us.
That's
And we don't have to live in fear. We've been, whatever you've been delivered from or being delivered from, God is going to be the one that's going to keep you, um, and keep your mind and keep you at peace, and to let you enjoy the deliverance that you have received in the area of your life. We're supposed to be able to enjoy this, and it just has created in me such a level of I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful for the renewal, the restoration, the refreshment of my life, through my finances. I said, people just have no idea, they see you operating and doing the things that you do and see you from the outside looking in, but they just have no idea, what you are processing through. And it can be tough. It can be tough. And it's, the Lord has to break us from our own controls, as you said, that, you're not doing this. I'm guiding you through this. And as you keep looking to the Lord, we can accomplish some things. And I'm really thankful for that. And I want everybody to know that if I can do it, you can do it. You know, God can walk you through any situation, and you can get to the other side and not smell like smoke.
Wow. Wow. Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us what that was good. That was, I really, and it's so true. It's so true. And the truth of the matter is that God never leaves us and he promised never to forsake us. So he's always there if we just reach out, if we just call on him. Um, and, I mean, his Holy Spirit walks with us every single day. If we just talk to him and ask him for the guidance, he's our teacher, our helper, our comforter. If we just ask for directions, big or small, whatever it is, uh, that we need, whatever it is about our lives that we need guidance, we need help. All we have to do is really is ask God. He's just, I mean, he's wonderful. I mean, he's our father, and he wants to
True.
do, uh, he wants to work in our lives, and we just have to reach out and ask. So what I wanted to just say is before we sign off here, um, if you were to receive a bonus or when you get your refund check, because I know that some people are going to get their tax refund, right?
Yes.
They're going to get a bonus, or somebody's going to come into some extra money. And then we have even what are the law that was passed today, the stimulus checks and all of that. What would you say to a person who is in over their heads, but they see this extra money coming from wherever it's going to come from, the tax refund or whatever, or the bonus or the stimulus? What would you say to them if they're in over their heads? And we realize that people have to make their own decisions. But what advice would you give them, knowing what you know now?
I would say, um, don't live in the moment. Think about what you want for your future, because if whatever it is, if however much it is, it was sent to help you. Um, so I would, again, go back to, writing down things. Write it down. Write down what you make and what you bring home. Write down, your debts, and then write down your goals. Make some short-term goals, make some long-term goals, and then take that money and try to apply it to the best place where it can be most effective. If you have something that's a high interest, tackle that. If you have something that's been lingering for a long time, tackle that. I would say take $5 and buy yourself a milkshake and use the rest of it for your goals. You can have just a tiny bit, but don't blow it. Don't blow it. Because you'll look back, because I've been there. You'll look back and you'll say, Where did it go and what did I spend it on? Again, just a transparent story. When I was in the military, I remember receiving a bonus check. I don't even know if they even get those anymore. But I can't tell you today what I did with that money. And it was a nice piece of money too. I don't even know what I did with it. But whatever you're receiving extra, do something wise with it. That's going to affect your future, not just this moment. Something that's going to affect your future that you can look back and say, man, that was smart. I use wisdom in that area. You know, reach out for some help. Ask someone that you know that is, like yourself, that's working with people to become debt free, or any if there's something else. I don't know if there's anything better for me. I'll just say that, shameless plug. But so, uh, but just don't live in the moment. Think about your future. Make a wise decision with that money, and you won't regret it because it'll get better. It'll get better.
Awesome, awesome. Great advice. And I hope that those who are on with us tonight will take that advice, and those who will replay this, because I mean it really is, it's worth just slowing down. Don't run to the bank, or don't withdraw it. If you have a savings account connected to your checking account where it's going to be deposited, transfer all of it out of the checking, put it over to the state savings, and pray about what you are going to do with that, you know,
Yeah.
because it's really easy to just start swiping the debit card or going to the bank and taking out 200 there and 400 there. And before you know it, like Pastor Sarah said, you won't know what you actually did with it. So just pretend, like we did when we were kids, pretend just like it's not even there.
Yeah.
Think about it, as Pastor Sarah said, make a wise decision. What should you do with it? And that's really, I mean, in the coming weeks, it's really going to be a lot of decisions that will need to be made. And I really hope that you do make the wise decisions that she's spoken of. So I'm just going to take a look and see if you have any questions. Wow, thank you all for being on here tonight. Um, I don't see. Somebody said to learn to use your finances. You have the finances you have, and no more borrowing. Spend with your future self in mind.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I took as much. No shame, no condemnation, no embarrassment. Absolutely. I so agree with that. Because the worst thing that you can possibly do is to continue. And I know that it's something that you all thought we weren't going to talk about tonight, but your pride comes before the fall, and that is the biggest issue, one of the biggest issues that people have. And we kind of talked about that tonight, saying that we want everybody to think that we have it together. So move your pride out of the way, and please don't condemn yourself. um, Whatever it is that you have done wrong, or you bad decisions or wrong decisions you've made in the past, let it go, move forward, and just start to make better decisions from today forward. From today on, just make a decision that you're going to make better decisions from now on and move forward. But don't hold that over your head if you made bad
Right.
decisions.
Right.
I certainly made really bad decisions at the age of 19 with 13 credit cards, and they were all maxed out. Bad decision. I know what that looks like. I know what it feels like, and it won't happen again.
No.
It
No.
will never happen again. I know you say never, but I'm saying never to 13 credit cards.
Telling you, you're
That will
right.
never happen
No.
again.
No. I had my fair share as well. And my fair share as well.
Okay, so speak now or forever hold your peace. If there are no questions tonight, I'm going to give it just a moment. And while I thank Pastor Sarah for being here this evening. I mean, but anything else that you want to add or share with us? I know you've had a long day. I do appreciate you being here tonight. Um, but you can please just feel free to share. But I am going to, I'm excited about this kickoff. I'm so glad that, we were able to start it with you tonight. And um, wow, it's just, I mean, you're just so humble. I just want you to just go ahead and just, can I just ask you one thing? You might, if you want to say it, you can. If not, but what happened? I'm going to just ask this question, everybody, before I introduce our next speaker for next week. But what happened? How did you feel when you saved 5 figures of your own money? How did you feel?
Oh my God. Whew. And interesting enough, I was saving and I wasn't even looking. So I just happened to one day look and I said, is it? And I cried actually, because my deficit was 5 figures.
Wow.
So to see the shift,
Right.
like your book in the back, that shift
Oh, you
happens,
see.
it's just been such a blessing to me. I can't even put it into words. I am just grateful. I am just grateful to God for wisdom and for favor and for just kindness and just allow me to be in another place because it wasn't always like this. And even though it might have looked like it wasn't. Um, so I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful. I don't have any other word than that. I'm just grateful, and
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
want to see everybody achieve their goals, whether they're financial or emotional, mental, whatever their goals are. Just chipping away a little bit at a time. It,
Mhm.
it does definitely. You will have a one day you'll look up and you go, "Wow, okay."
Right, right.
Self-control, discipline, um, putting down your pride, realizing that you didn't need it, you know. Sometimes you don't even want it. It just might be something shiny, and you realize, I don't really need that, and that your life is so much more fulfilling with the wealth on the inside than it is for the wealth on the outside.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. And that is one of the reasons why I always encourage people to define what wealth looks like to you, because the wealth of the world looks different than the wealth, uh, the kingdom kind of wealth, the wealth that the Bible speaks of. And it is definitely within. That it is such a joy and a peace that doesn't look anything like what the wealth of in the world, and it's nothing wrong with having it, just the way
Mm-mm.
that you do, other people do, but you can't allow it to manage you. You have to manage it. And that's where the joy and the peace of God comes in, when you have good control over that over the money, then allowing it to have control over you.
Yeah.
So a couple things I just want to say about past of what Pastor Sarah said is you have to have a plan, and please just think about think about your future and make sound decisions there. But you have to have a plan and you have to stick to it in order to get to the place where you desire to get to. And the biggest thing is that it takes time. If you remember, she talked about Sarah, where Sarah was, and now where Pastor Sarah is. So it took time from Sarah getting help, reaching out, going to her bank to get help, to where Pastor Sarah is now in control of her managing her finances and being a very good steward, over her finances, applying biblical principles. So it takes time and it takes work. Listen, my friends, God is not going to do everything. He's not going to do the things that we can do for ourselves. There are some things that we have to do. God is going to do his part, but there are things that we have to do. So, so have a plan. So I am going to, okay. Elder Phil said, that's so true. That's exactly what happened to her. She said she stopped looking at her savings and it grew. Absolutely. Just do, in other words, just do the work, just put the, time in, just let it go, let it ride, put it on automatic and let it go, and don't run and look at it every day. It's not going to make it grow any faster.
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's
but
not.
anyway, I want to thank you, Pastor Sarah, for being with us tonight. I really, really
Having me.
appreciate everything that you shared. I scribed as much as I could inside. So much wisdom, so much wisdom, and your humility is just. It's always like that. I mean, so that's why I just have to kind of push you a little bit. Um, but I really appreciate you. God is certainly blessing you, blessing the people that you touch. And I pray that he'll continue to do that for you, exceedingly and abundantly above all I can even ask or think on your behalf. So next week, you want to come back here next week at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have Pastor Garlena Hines of Grace Restoration Ministry out of Portsmouth, Virginia. She is a prayer warrior. She is a woman of faith that is really someone to be reckoned with. She's a Christian marriage psychotherapist. And if I got that wrong, she's going to correct me. She's also she's prepared, and I can say this: she is already prepared to retire. I mean, and she is really like Pastor Sarah is with her finances. Oh yeah. And she has a story to tell. So you have to come back with us next Thursday at 7 p.m. Hear Pastor Garlena's story. I mean, she is on fire, on fire for God for real. You will not want to miss it. And and she is going to share with us. So thank you so much, everyone, all of you. May the Lord bless you, bless the work of your hands, bless your intentions to follow Him, to work the biblical principles in your finances. If it feels like it isn't working, trust me, it is. It just takes time. So do not give up. Hang in there. I guarantee you that God will never fail. He can do anything but fail. He will definitely deliver on his promises. His word does not return to him void, but it accomplishes what he sends it out to do. So thank you all so much for joining us. I appreciate you. God bless you, Pastor Sarah. I
Bless
really,
you.
really thank you again
Thank
for
you.
being with us. All right. Well, everyone
Have
have a super evening. God bless.